Yeah, y'all see I had to put it on for my team, man. I'm excited to make this video. What's going on? It's your boy Deej. We back with another video. And today we're going to be grading and breaking down the Jacksonville Jaguars 2025 NFL Draft. I was very excited with the results of this draft. So today we're going to be talking about we're going to use kind of some analysis from, listening to, the top analysts for ESPN, NFL Network, and multiple other analysts too, like from radio shows and stuff like that, to break down the Jaguars draft. And without further ado, let's talk about basically the most special pick of all. And my dream pick came true. It's like, again, you have a dream, you want something, and it comes true, and you put in the work in it, and it comes true. Or you just have a dream for your team. So I think too, in some videos, my dream pick for the Jaguars was for them to get Travis Hunter, but with us being with the number 5 overall pick, and with it coming clear with as draft week continued to develop, that Travis Hunter was not going to be available, as we were going to have to trade up. But I didn't expect us to trade up. I had no idea until literally a day or two before, until Ian Rappaport reported, I think the day before the draft, that the Jaguars could, the Jaguars and the Browns are working on a potential trade to move up to get Travis Hunter, and they called it a bold move. And I mean that respectfully as well. But we made a book. James Gladstone, the man, this dude's a legend. If he's eligible for presidency, I'm voting him for president. This dude cooked, man, with this one. So Travis Hunter, we got the best player in the draft. We got him. We got Travis Hunter, the generational prospect, the two-way athlete, the two-way star, who's going to make an immediate impact on this team, not just from his football play on the field, but to me, his character, his personality off the field. Really good dude, man. He doesn't, like I said, doesn't get into trouble, stays out of trouble. The man, all he likes to do is chill, play the game, play football, and probably his favorite thing to do of all, which I respected a lot, is to fish. And also, he returns home. He's from West Palm Beach, Florida. So Travis Hunter returns home, and we pulled off a massive trade to get him, right? So we moved up from number 5 to number 2, and we moved back. We also traded our number 36 overall pick, a second-round pick. We moved up from 126, pick 126 in the 4th round, to pick 102. And then we we traded a 6th-round pick. We got a 6th-round pick from the Browns. By the way, this was involving Cleveland. And then we traded, the biggest, of course, one was we traded a 1st-round pick next year to Cleveland. So they now have 2 1st-round picks in the NFL draft for 2026. And we moved up, pulled off a huge trade, blockbuster draft day trade, to move up to get Travis Hunter. Is Travis Hunter worth trading up for? 100%. When, again, he is the best, because especially too, when he is graded in the consensus number 1 prospect in this draft. Now, some people may have Abdul Carter higher. Some people may have Cam Ward, or obviously the quarterbacks, right? Tennessee obviously had higher on their board because they need a quarterback. But to me, this is the number 1 prospect and the best prospect of this draft. The Heisman Trophy winner. He won basically every award you can imagine. Maybe even should have won more. He was the best defensive back last year in the in college football, and he was the best wide receiver last year. 96 catches, over 1,200 yards, 15 touchdowns, 16 total with a rushing touchdown. Goes on the defense side of the ball, has like 30-plus tackles, 11 pass breakups, 4 interceptions. 2 of them were diving, incredible interception plays. In his career, I think he had 7 interceptions in his career with Colorado, and obviously 2 dating back to his time in Jackson State as well. It made it clear. And obviously too, Travis Hunter, he's the first two-way player drafted since like the 1960s, and also was the first high school recruit to go to commit to a HBCU in college football history. But he's going to make an immediate impact. To me, I give this an A+. I get it. The trade, it definitely costed a lot to get him, but he's worth every single pick. And of course, the Browns, to me, it's a win-win trade between the two sides, right? Because you get that 1st-round pick, and you still take a guy who the Jaguars were likely going to take in Mason Graham, number 5 overall. So they ended up taking him with that 5th overall pick that they traded down for, and now he'll pair with Myles Garrett. So to me, I give that an A+. Caleb Bransall was our next pick. As you remember, we traded that second round pick to Cleveland. I think they used that to draft. I think it was Quinshon. They took Quinshon Judkins. No, they took Carson. They took a linebacker from UCLA, and they took Quinshon Judkins with that pick they got from us. So they got those two guys there, added to the defense, and also added to their offense. So we took Caleb Bransall, defensive back, Tulane. Primarily played nickel at in college, but he played safety in the Senior Bowl. Played pretty well, so he's showing his positional versatility. Not only that, he tested very well at the combine. Had a 4.3, ran a 4.340. Tested well in some other areas as well. Very fast, very athletic, more fast than quick. So maybe lacks the ideal athleticism per se, but he is very fast, and he's in a really good tackler. I was watching a clip of Todd McShay, former ESPN draft day analyst, just showing how much this guy loved Caleb Bransall when he watched him on tape, and all he had was positive things to say about him, and they loved him too in Tulane as well. They admired him. So this is a guy too, I think, that fits the culture and fits what we want to bring in, from a football person perspective. And in my opinion, I think too, looking at the Jaguars, what did we need specifically? We needed safety. Now we took a nickel corner, but who showed he can play safety. And in my opinion, I think Bransall is going to play safe. He could start day one at safety, because while we have our starting strong safety, in my opinion, in Eric Murray, who we got from Houston, who we signed to free agency, we could, that free safety spot is, to me, open for business, like open for competition, right? Darnell Savage, I think, showed some flashes, but to me, he's not consistent enough to be out there on the field. I think Caleb Bransall, I think Todd McShay in his podcast, who they compared it to, who compared Caleb Bransall to, they compared him to a Jalen Petrie for the Houston Texans, really good young free safety who plays all over the field, and physical, really good tackler, makes plays on the football. He just got an extension as well, and it's a pretty good comparison. So when you have that guy comparing to an NFL starter, and who's a huge contributor on that Houston defense for DeMeco Ryans, bringing Caleb Bransall in, and I know our defensive coordinator is fired up to get Bransall in as well. So I think too, this guy could start day one at free safety. So I'm gonna give this pick a B. I think it's a good pick, and I think seeing what he could potentially be, it could even be a better overall grade as well. And I really think he could be our starting free safety day one of the NFL season. We beefed up the trenches. We got an offensive lineman, Wyatt Millam from West Virginia. Played left tackle, was a really good in college football. I think allowed only one sack in his college football career. Limited allowed pressures as well. So he held his own. He did his job in college football. Was a really good left tackle. Some people had him rated in the second round. Some people had him in the day 3, or some people had him in the 3rd round. So there were some guys that had him higher and lower. He didn't do quite well in the Senior Bowl because they put him at guard. The NFL, and he was announced as a guard as well. So he'll need some more development at guard if he's going to play that. But in my opinion, too, could be a potential starter, in my opinion, in the NFL. Could potentially start soon, right, for Jacksonville, or you can use this season to develop him at the guard spot, and then he could start next year in 2026. So you don't have to rush him at all, but if he's ready, and then if you need him to start, I think he can start at guard. And to me, I'm gonna give this an A-, because this is I watched his draft and interview when he got drafted, and he said he's gonna make sure that Trevor Lawrence does not get hit. He's gonna make sure Trevor Lawrence is protected. And I love a guy who wants to protect this guy 16 right here. You know what I'm saying? So you got my support, my brother. So I got to give him an A-. But specifically too, again, for a guy who was really good in college, didn't allow nobody to get near his quarterback. And then, right, he's going to need some development, right, at a new position. But if Jacksonville can develop him there, this could be a potential starter of the future for Jacksonville. So I like this pick. I also really like this pick here. Bashul Tootin, running back from Virginia Tech, also ran a fast 40, tested really well, also was productive in college. did fall in the draft due to fumbling issues, and that's something, right, he's going to have to clean up. We got to, have some guy, if you're going to be playing, you got to protect the football. But again, has 3 down to me upside, has the speed, has that breakaway speed, that big playability that Jacksonville needs. And in my opinion, I'm going to give this a B+. I actually really like this pick. When I heard he ran a 4.3 340, I'm like, I like what I'm hearing there. So definitely too, and I think he could push Tank Bigsby and Travis Etienne for some competition. Definitely also did some kick returns as well, so he has special teams upside as well. So he could really make some big plays, as a running back on the field and then also on special teams as well. So I like this pick. We drafted, to my opinion, because Liam Cohen, one thing they wanted to focus on was drafting guys who we could get on the field early. And Jack Kaiser is another talented, productive linebacker from Notre Dame. He'll be 25, so he'll be an older rookie, but that just shows his experience. He's played a lot of college football, so even though he'll be a rookie, of course, in the NFL, the experience that he should be more NFL ready. He'll make an immediate impact on special teams, but he could push to start beside Devin Lloyd, Foyesade Aluakin, right? And because too, we're gonna have to see too how Devin Lloyd plays this year, right? We declined his 5th-year option. I think he'll be the starting linebacker as well this year, but he could, Jack Kaiser, if he plays well and turns some heads in the offseason in training camp, rookie mini camp, he could push Devin Lloyd out of his starting slot, and he could potentially start as well. So another potential starter for Jacksonville. So I'm gonna give this one a B. I'm gonna give this a B minus as well. But I think it is a good pick, and hearing Jen Jad talk about this guy as well, YouTube analyst for the Jaguars as well. I think there's some upside to where he could potentially play sooner than later, and that to me is a good sign. Now we had, obviously, I think we had 2 6th-round picks here. So we took Jalen McLeod, linebacker from Auburn, primarily played on the edge, but can also play off the ball, so some positional versatility. We could potentially play some special teams, but also, again, just adding more juice to our pass rush is something that we desperately needed to get. So, and this is a guy, too, that I do see making the roster and can really add some much-needed depth, who can rush off the edge or play off the ball. So I'm going to give this a B as well. We did take a safety, but we took him later in the round. Rayuin Lane III, safety from Navy, primarily, of course, played on near the line of scrimmage because, as you know, obviously with the military schools, they play more of that play action type of run offense. So primarily played, but is a good tackler and is a really good special teamer. They love him on special teams. And again, special teams is important. You got to make plays on special teams. So an immediate impact guy on special teams. I think he had 9 tackles on special teams per Gen Jag, and he'll come in and could potentially maybe, if he comes into in rookie minicamp, maybe too can maybe try to get on the field as a safety as well, and he is a safety, so we'll see if we can get him on the field. Continuing to be, so we took 2 offensive linemen, Jonah Monheim from USC, and obviously this is a Tony Baselli pick all the way, as you know. Our Hall of Famer, our lone Hall of Famer in our franchise, is a Trojan, from his days there, former number 2 pick in '95 by the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, we took Jonah Meehan, center, right from Southern California, so he'll definitely add some center depth as well, potentially, again, I think Robert Haynes is going to be our starting center this year. We signed him to a 3-year, $21 million contract, has familiarity playing with Liam Cohen in that scheme, so I could see this being a good scheme fit. And then again, just adding some depth in the interior of the offensive line. Like it's a B pick. And then LaQuint Allen, running back from Syracuse, 3-down back, can catch the ball out of the backfield very well. Just adds more depth and just adds some more, also has special teams ability as well, can play on special teams. So you can have a guy who can, contribute in one room in the running back room, but can contribute in special teams. To me, this is a C+ pick. But again, just taking another running back there. And I think, again, contributes on special teams could be really good for us. All right, yeah, so that is our draft class led by Travis Hunter, of course. Very excited about getting Travis Hunter and Duval. And, can't wait to see him pair with Brian Thomas Jr., Trevor Lawrence. And then you have, obviously, our running backs with Tank and ETN. Hopefully we can get ETN going this year, and we have Brenton Strange as well. Our offense looked loaded. We looked dynamic for sure. So we're definitely going to get Trevor playing at a high level, but a solid draft class. I think it's a good draft class. I think it's a B to B plus, B overall, a really good draft class full of guys who could potentially start. And I think these are some Jaguar guys in that new regime that James Gladstone and Liam Cohen and Tony Vaselli really like. So we're going to trust them on the process. And we'll also going to have another video later about, some other draft grades for teams as well. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a blessed day. Stay easy out there. Stay blessed. Peace.